me when I'm on a call with somebody. I didn't think I would ever relate to a pigeon this much, but this is literally the only reason why in the office I sometimes stand up at my desk. Like, we have standing desks, I can pull up the desk as well, and then just walk around because I have a cable headset, but the headset is quite long, so I can at least pace around a little bit. You know, and it's also why I really want a different headset for my home office so I can do this at least at home, you know? Because apparently we're pigeons. Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. We're doing neurodivergent memes again, which is hilarious because I had so many saved on my phone. Because I saved them and then they end up somewhere in between a lot of other pictures, and then I only find them again like way later, and probably only because I was bored at my grandparents' place last weekend. So anyways, that's what we're doing today. I hope you're hydrated. If not, maybe go grab something to drink now. A little bit of water or tea or whatever else you like to drink. And then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. The ADHD urge to do everything at the same time. I will have 7 first priorities. What actually ends up happening? I don't want to work, I just want to bang on this mug all day. Because you found this one mug that sounds really good when you bang on it, and that's all you want to do then. Because why not? Literally just why not? Because if you're anything like me, you will think of all the things you can do, and all the things you should be doing, and all the things that would probably greatly improve your life if you did them. But then you're just so overwhelmed by everything you could do and wanting to do everything and just hating that you need to do certain things because you don't actually feel like doing them, but you know you should, that you just get overwhelmed and just sit there. And now suddenly you're in a bad mood, even though 10 minutes earlier you were just like so motivated to do all the things and were thinking of more things to do, but then you're just sitting there and want to either bang on the mug or bang your head against the wall. One of these is definitely the better options. I'm so excited to read my new book. My ADHD brain. The hell you are. You know those I don't even have ADHD anymore memes of kind of just being able to do something that normally you can't do, and then suddenly you're just like, I don't even have ADHD anymore, as a joke obviously, because you know you still do. I may have bought this book like half a year ago and left it on the shelf somewhere, sure. But then we decided to read more, and I picked this book because I really wanted to read it. And I actually read it and finished it in like 2 or 3 weeks. And actually just read more than once, you know, because usually what ends up happening is I read a few pages, sometimes maybe even a few chapters, and then forget about it. But I've actually finished a book in like 2 or 3 weeks, which is impressive, which I haven't done in forever. Because as a child, I read a lot and then just finished everything so quickly. But now, I can't remember the last time I read a book before that. Look everywhere for the thing. Every nook and cranny. Buy a new thing because the old one is clearly gone. Think of a great spot to store the new thing. Find the old thing in the great spot I thought of. What do you mean I had this thought before? What do you mean? This is like next level frustrating. This isn't misplacing something and then just giving up on the thing. No, you went out of your way, you dealt with a lot of people probably, or through the stress of online shopping and maybe still bought more things than you needed, only to find out you still have a perfectly good thing that you just misplaced so well that your brilliant brain didn't think of the great spot a day earlier. Because you thought of a great spot, you put it there and then forgot about all about the great spot, and then you only remembered the great spot when you got the new thing. Why? Just why? This is... Having ADHD is sometimes like being haunted by your own brain, and this is one of those moments. My brain, when someone is giving me directions I literally just asked for. Why do we do this? Why do we ask for directions? Why do we ask someone to explain something to us if we know this is gonna happen? Like, sometimes you just have good intentions, right? And just like, no, I'm sure I can do it this time. I just need to focus. When, historically, just trying to focus a little bit harder has never actually worked for you in your life, but you think somehow this time is going to be different. And I don't know why I'm saying you, because I do the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure my brain does not look exactly like this, but it's still very close. When you remember 10 things you forgot today. Is this another one of those I don't have ADHD anymore moments? It's like, okay, I need to do these 10 things today. And then you start doing the things, and then maybe you forgot them at some point, but then you remembered again. But let me just ask you a question. Are you 100% sure they're the 10 things you set out to do in the morning? Because yeah, you did 10 things, like you remember to do the 10 things, but are those the exact same 10 things as you actually wanted to do? Because let me tell you something, I'm never sure. Unless I have like a written list, because no one can fake my writing, because my writing is horrendous. And I can be sure no one messed with it, Like, unless I have it written down and I can cross out the things or like put little marks next to the things I did, I can never be sure they're the exact same things I actually set out to do. My ADHD, let's put things off to the point that the anxiety from task avoidance becomes so crippling that we're too scared to even think about starting. My anxiety disorder. Yes, I'm in. Let's do that. That sounds like a brilliant plan. Because while ADHD, specifically in women, will probably be misdiagnosed as anxiety or depression or bipolar or any one of these, that doesn't mean that a lot of ADHD people don't actually have anxiety. And then they team up on you, which is great, of course. But honestly, having ADHD does kind of make you a lot more likely to be anxious a lot and develop an anxiety disorder, because if you're so used to actually forgetting things, or like same with autistic people, like if all your life you're being told, no, but you're doing that weird and you need to start acting normal and things like that, then of course you're gonna start overthinking everything. And you're gonna rethink things a million times to make sure you didn't forget anything. And that can honestly very, very slowly and steadily lead to an anxiety disorder over the years. Did I realize I had anxiety before I realized I was neurodivergent? Yes, so I don't want to blame doctors too much because it's a little bit difficult to tell from the outside, but I still want to, because yeah, like, for a lot of people it's not just that. Me, a year into a job I masked my way into. I don't think it took a year. Although, yeah, I'm kind of convinced that after like I hit a year in this job that it all just went downhill. Like I'm still very convinced I do so much more than like a lot of my coworkers who just do not care at all. And as much as I sometimes think I wish I could be like them and I wish I could not care, because even my not caring ends up with me stressing myself to do this job, so I don't want to be like that, but sometimes I wish I could. I don't really, but sometimes I do. Yeah, but this is, I always had bags under my eyes, it's not that, but my health is maybe going a little bit downhill. I used to never get sick, really. I was like sick maybe once a year, and then only just like a little bit of a cold, and it was always gone pretty fast. I've been getting sick more. Maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe it's the fact that I masked my way into situations that I maybe shouldn't have, My chemically imbalanced brain going from lonely to happy to anxious to depressed to sleepy within 5 minutes. Parkour! Listen, am I impressed with people who can do like actual parkour and like run up buildings and jump like all these like crazy... Like, I'm impressed by that. I think it looks super cool, and I think it's super cool that people are capable of doing that. That doesn't mean I want my brain to be doing parkour. Because mood swings are probably more exhausting. Like, I feel like being in a steadily bad mood all day would be less exhausting than this. Because then you're just like, oh, I recovered, I'm happy, things are going great, but then like, nothing doesn't even really like has to go wrong, really. But then suddenly you're just like super depressed or super angry at everything. And it's so frustrating. My god. I like parkour, but not in that way, come on. ADHD people, after successfully completing multiple tasks on the same day. A blessing from the Lord. Who is our ADHD Lord, though? Like, do we have, like, an ADHD overlord? Do we just worship ghosts because it's basically like we're being haunted by our own brains, so we might as well worship actual ghosts? Like, who is our Lord and Savior? And can we please pray a little bit harder so we get those blessed days more often? Because I feel like that'd be helpful to all of us. I love experiencing autistic joys, but can I stop hearing the electricity, please? Yeah. Being very emotional about things can be a blessing. Like, it can just mean you're super passionate and super excited about things. But unfortunately, it also goes the other way. And it also just means you're more sensitive to hearing things that other people don't hear. And that those things will probably make you way more irritated and angry than it would a neurotypical person. Like, sometimes when you're just like, don't you hear that humming from the fridge like 2 rooms over? And they're like focusing on it and they can hear it, but not just like, just tune it out. Really, it's great that works for you, but unfortunately that doesn't work with all brains. Okay, this is actually so relatable. His hobbies start with a dream but end anticlimactically and ends with lazy and forgotten. Yeah, listen, we're not out here diagnosing other people, right? But saying, my hobbies start out with a wild dream and I'm super excited and passionate about it, but then it just ends lazily and I forget about it, or I just end up frustrated with it because I don't have all the supplies I need and that I can't go out to get more because of my job. Is something that's just going to be relatable to a lot of ADHD people. Not his exact words, obviously, but something along those lines. This whole episode, by the way, if y'all don't know, I know there are maybe not too many K-pop stans watching. This is Han from Stray Kids. I should not start talking about Stray Kids because this video is going to be 5 hours long at least. So I'm going to try to keep it short because they're my favorite K-pop group and I could literally talk about it forever. But they have this format, which they're repeating right now, of like one kid's room, where they have like one member and interview him and interview the other 7 members together. Like ask them kind of similar questions, and then they talk about like the one separate member. And yeah, he was also like, they were talking about what kind of hobbies he has, and he had a lot of hobbies. Like plants, some artsy stuff, you know, guitar, a lot of things. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you want to watch it, that's one of the most recent ones, because they had this format like a couple of years ago and they're now doing it again, you know. So if you want to watch it, it's just hilarious. Like, I feel like it's funny if you know them, but it's just hilarious. When someone interrupts your hyperfocus while you're trying to catch up on everything you've fallen behind on over the last week. I'm not sure his face is filled with rage enough, but his heart probably is, so I guess that counts, because just know. Same with like it doesn't even matter if it's your private life or your work life, but like if you're at work and you're like starting again after you've been on vacation or something, or you were sick, and someone like immediately calls you, or someone calls you while you're doing something important that you don't want to like get distracted from. You cannot tell me how I cannot express how angry that makes me, but I feel like if you relate to this, you probably already know. When you try to search for online autism community, but find a bunch of grievance parents posting about how they hate their autistic kids. Great. This is what I was expecting, of course. Why? I know some people don't take it serious, but honestly, having kids when you're not prepared to actually take care of any kind of kid you might have is a really bad idea. Like, if you set out to have a child, just fully expecting it to be a neurotypical, like cishet, healthy child, you might be in for surprises, because it's not the kid's fault that they are a certain way that you did not expect, and that it may present struggles you did not expect. That's your fault. So you don't really get to go online and be like, no, this isn't the child I ordered, so I'm really sad about it, because you don't actually get to custom order a child, and you should have been aware of that before having children, actually. Slaps roof of my brain. This bad boy can go on so many side quests. Listen, side quests, while not really progressing the story, can still be helpful to the overall story, right? Like, you might find helpful tools that you're gonna need, or that are just gonna be helpful to the actual main, like, story, plot, whatever. So, honestly, go on the side quests. Just go on the side quests. Me, eating mac and cheese every day. I'm eating healthier. My autistic meltdown. Well, I can definitely see the struggle. Like, a lot of people maybe have things as safe foods that they literally just want to eat all day, every day. That might not be the most nutritionally balanced. And also, just eating one thing or one or two things can probably never really be too balanced, because it's still going to be, like, very limited, because you don't need to eat perfectly every day and need to eat all the things, you know. You just kind of need to balance it out, maybe like over a week or something. But if all you want to eat is mac and cheese, but you're still trying to take care of your health, because being in poor health literally just makes your everything worse in general, then yeah, why is this dude smoking a blunt though? Like, why is he smoking? Anyways, society. Autistic people are so rigid and never consider others. Autistic me habitually sacrifices my wants, needs, preferences, and mythologies, and hides a huge and important part of my identity, to the detriment of my own health, to make other people feel comfortable. Just so they won't be, like, inconvenienced by you. But no, people don't see that. They only see it when you actually end up inconveniencing them because you're having a meltdown. Or because you can't keep up the facade anymore, and then suddenly you're rude or being flaky, or you just, like, end up really sick, and they think that you're just pretending to be sick because you don't want to do something, you know? So I'm trying to avoid that. But like I said, my health has also just been deteriorating for like a year now, so it's not going well. But we can try to do better together, or at least I'm trying, and I maybe encourage you to try to, because just, I know we can't always just, like, go all happy and just, like, be unmasked around everyone and everywhere, you know, but I feel like we can maybe try to drop the mask a little bit, or at least, like, in certain places or scenarios, so that we can kind of recover and not end up so incredibly burned out and in poor health, you know? At least that's kind of the balance I'm trying to find. ADHD is so funny, because you try to make coffee, and the next thing you know, you've been standing in one spot in the kitchen for 30 minutes reading about Greenland. Well, you opened the fridge to get the milk, right? But it had something about Greenland on it. Or you saw yogurt or some other food, and then you're just, like, you maybe don't even know where you read or heard a certain word from, but you've heard something, and then it just makes you think of something else, or just about that thing, and then all you want to do is read about that thing, and then you're just standing there in the kitchen. I hope you closed the fridge at least. I spent some time doing research on ADHD coping techniques, and did you know that Arcadia trees can warn other trees of danger by emitting a cloud of ethylene gas? Because I did not, but I do know now. This is honestly, it's still just, it's not what you searched for, but it's still like a cool thing to know, right? Like, it's still like an interesting fact you found. So go on the side quests, go on the side education hunts type side quests, because you never know what you're gonna find. You didn't know you were gonna find this, but this is a cool thing to find, so go on the side quests. Me, after saying what for the third time and still not hearing what they said. At this point, you just hope they stop talking because they're fed up with you just continuously just being like, huh? What? But somehow these people don't learn. Like, I have this one coworker and I know I ranted about him before. I'm sorry, I have to bring him up again though. Because apart from the other things I mentioned in previous videos that he just doesn't know when to shut up, he also does this thing where he will, like, talk really quietly. And I don't want to be that close to people, so I don't want to lean in. But after saying, huh? Or what? And he just repeats it just as quietly, and I'm obviously not processing it, I end up leaning in, and I really don't want to. But I also know that he won't go away until I, like, say something to it, so I kinda have to. Just maybe, like, if you're trying to shit talk someone in the same room, even if they're far away, maybe just text me instead, you know? Maybe just do that instead of just whispering and hoping I understand, because I won't. You know, just side rant, I guess. I went to a party once, and everyone was supposed to pitch in some money to buy Adderall. I had never tried or even heard of it, but I was young and stupid, so I gave them 20 bucks. Later on, after we all took it, everyone was going crazy and having a good time, and I was just sitting on the couch quietly. So I googled Adderall on my phone and learned that it's used to treat ADHD. I have ADHD. I paid $20 to calm down. Is giving this person who took Adderall with their friends at a festival and everyone else was also just going off and having a good time. But they were just, like, finally able to focus enough to sit under a tree and answer all their, like, unchecked messages or unanswered messages. So it's giving that you literally just pay $20 to calm down, which, you know, is not the worst investment. Like, sure, paying $20 to have a good time, sure, why not? But paying $20 to actually, like, have some calm also just seems fair. If neurotypicals are so good at picking up hints, why do they never seem to notice you leaning away from when they try to touch you? If neurotypicals are so empathetic and social, why do they not notice when they're mean as hell? If neurotypicals are so adaptable to change, why won't they make accommodations for neurodivergent people? Because that's not what's important. It's important that you accommodate to them and you change everything about you for them so it doesn't inconvenience them. But the other way around, no. Even though it would still make sense. I know they would want to pull the, oh, but the majority of people isn't autistic kind of thing. But, you know, the majority of people can use stairs. That doesn't mean we don't accommodate the people who can't and build elevators, you know, so that we make spaces accessible to more people. You know, and suddenly that's not too hard of a concept to understand for people, but when it's like something mental that they can't see, it's all just like, oh, pull yourself together, you know, it's fine, just focus a bit more, and shit like that, and it's just making me so angry. Me. Okay, I've complained enough about this, it's time to let it go. Me, 5 minutes later. Well, actually, you know what? This. Like, sometimes we get distracted and immediately forget something that made us mad. But if we don't, this is kind of what ends up happening. At least for me, because then it's like, now actually, you know what? I'm so mad. I'll either forget why I'm mad at someone and I just maybe remember that I was mad at them, or I will remember forever. And I won't tell that person. I just hope I never have to spend time with them again. Which is a very adult thing to do, I know, but still. ADHDers figuring out that they're more productive when they're actively avoiding something else. Avoiding one task completes 5 others. Listen, when are you gonna listen when I tell you to go on the side quests? Because yeah, sometimes maybe it won't achieve the main goal you're striving for, whatever, you really need to write that application. Or someone commented that they got inspired by my video, or just like remembered that they needed to fill out something for their autism assessment. Maybe you didn't actually. This person did, but maybe you did the thing you actually meant to do, and instead did 5 side quests. But maybe your kitchen is as clean as it's ever been now because you got inspired to rearrange it and then ended up cleaning it, and now it's just neat and tidy. You know, maybe go on the side quests. You never know what you're gonna find. You never know unless you try. I asked my doctor for ADHD medication, and he gave me the number for another doctor to make an appointment with. Which is like if you lost the ability to walk and your doctor said the cure is right up these stairs. Especially phone calls, especially because so many of us have like auditory processing issues. Which just makes phone calls so much worse. It just makes them so much worse. Like, I used to have so much, unbelievably, like an unbelievably amount of anxiety surrounding phone calls, because I have a hard time understanding people in real life, and it's way harder over the phone somehow. You know? And it just made me so anxious, I really couldn't. And then people keep being like, just call them, you know? Just call, like, the strange doctor that you never talk to. No. I hate it. I really hate it. It's almost as bad as, like, having an online contact form, you know, that you can fill out, but then they never check it, and then you have to call anyways, and really awkwardly have to be like, I filled out the online thing, and they're just like, oh yeah, that doesn't work at the moment. Well, fix it. Please. Please just fix it. Me, trying to figure out what's going on in the world via memes, since I refuse to watch the news. This one, I'm sorry, but I literally just included this because I know it's not just me that does this. And that it's just always, like, ever since we were, like, in high school, we were told to watch the news. Like, my parents, and more specifically my dad, kept bugging me about it. Like, teachers at school, like, especially politics teachers, tried getting us to do it because it's so important. Because I see what they're getting at. Like, yes, it is important to be informed and know what's going on, but if you're anything like me, the thought of it alone just stresses you so much that it's just incredibly difficult to do once a year, let alone like every day or like weekly, you know, because there's always too much going on and there's too much unnecessary information as well, and then just like the thought of having to filter out everything, it just becomes such a process, and it's just difficult, and it stresses me, and I don't. So I just, you know, like if I read something in my memes, I'm just like, I don't get this, and I just like go check out the comments and see what they say, and then they kind of just like explain the situation, and then I can just like read about this one little thing with already like having kind of a lightened mood around it because I found it in a meme first. You know, it kind of just makes sense somehow. In my head, I'm not sure it does, but to my brain it makes sense, and that's why it works way better than just sitting down and reading or watching news, you know, because just... I didn't set out to refuse it, I just kind of did because it stressed me too much, I guess. Anyways, that was all the memes. I know they don't really replace news, at least not these ones. So you might have to find some memes about other topics, but anyways, that's all the memes I have for today. Also, with the amount of time I forget them on my phone, they probably wouldn't be current anymore anyway, so don't get your meme news from my channel, maybe. You know, just a helpful hint on the side. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed these memes, I hope you're hydrated. If not, maybe consider drinking something now. And I'll be back in a few days with my next video.